Hello everyone, welcome back to Bascar Bricks. Today we're doing a quick tour of my Lego displays and I guess most of my collection in general here. I've been promising my Discord this for probably a few months now. Thought we should do it at some point, so let's dive right into it. Alright, so I think I should talk about like the shelving unit itself before I get to the stuff on it. These are just really basic wooden shelves. They don't look that great, but they were free, they're big, and they hold a lot of stuff, so they work fine for me. As far as protecting them from sunlight goes, I always keep my blinds closed. So of course in Lego and sunlight never equals something good. But I guess we should probably just start down here. This is my classic space display. We got a bunch of, sets there. I've made a kind of video on that, so I'm not going to go into huge detail. Over here we have what little non-Star Wars or space stuff I have on display. Stuff like, the Fairy, the NES, the Stranger Things stuff, and a bunch of older, kind of smaller vintage sets over there. We'll move one row up here. We into a bunch of spaceships. You got an awesome X-Wing there, which I've displayed X-foils in attack position. Can't display any other way. Got some smaller little sets here. Some Republic fighter tanks, some Jedi starfighters, interceptors, snow speeders. A bunch of neato stuff over there. Here we have my TIE Fighter shelf. I love TIE Fighters. I've recently finally gotten enough to give them their own shelf. We have the 2018 TIE Fighter, 2006 TIE Fighter, 2020 TIE Fighter, 2010 Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, and we have, of course, the two awesome TIE Bombers, which I kind of put in front of them. All of them are at least raised off the ground a little bit. That's one thing you'll notice that I like to do, is I like to add layering to my displays here by kind of putting smaller stuff in the front that are more to the ground and like elevating stuff behind them. Not only does it add layers, it's also a lot more space efficient. Alright, let's move kind of over here. We got, Droid Gunship, a lot of really smaller sets packed into these among some of the bigger ones. Got some speeder stuff. Won't point out everything, but I'm sure y'all can look around here and see what's going on. Let's move on to the next shelf, which we have some of the bigger sets, the Marauder. We have some Vulture droids, of course the AT-AT walkers, ATTE, a lot of the bigger walkers over here, got some droidicas and such hanging out up there. Of course, I should probably talk about some of these real quick. Got a Brickfest VIP thing, a Legoland guy, and the classic space hat. Alright, but up here on this shelf, so this is the least organized shelf. As you can see, thankfully I have a lot of room up here thanks to some recent organizing. So there's a lot of just stuff laying around, not necessarily organized. It's a little bit better over here, but I don't really focus on the top shelf as much. I like to keep that as spacious as possible just in case I get any big set. And alright, well, let's move to the top. Let's start up here. I don't usually display many of my boxes anymore just for space reasons, but these boxes are too big to fit anywhere else. We have the Jabba Sail Barge, Razor Crest, NES, you got an AT-AT, Stranger Things. I'm sure you know the drill. Here's the top shelf. Now what makes the top shelf interesting is that it's really hard to display stuff that is kind of above your eye level, because when you look up at something, it's going to look a lot worse than just looking at something at eye level. So I really had to choose really specific sets up here that to me look good from an angle like this. And I think walkers like this, especially these smaller walkers, especially ATSTs, because so much of that build is just the head, the body does not end up looking super terrible. And of course the Mandalorian Starfighter is also a good one to have in display like this. E-Web Cannon, some other little stuff over here. Got a Luigi down there, some more boxes and such. And of course we move over here, we have Sail Barge, which I've put up a little bit, elevated a little bit up there, make it a little bit more interesting, and to make it more space efficient, as that set is a pain to display, takes up a lot of space. And of course I put Jabba's Palace there, and just Obi-Wan's hat, which I'll probably disassemble at some point. And lastly, I just have some more boxes that I can't really store much else, that are just sitting around there. So that's kind of the bulk of this side of the room. Alright, we got the big boy over here, the Razor Crest here, which I just kind of put on this dresser. This dresser holds a lot of my Lego minifigures, which we'll see in here. Now, I sort all of my Lego minifigures by the sets that they came in. Come in, for example, here's the ATST, Raider, just all organized by the sets that they come in. And yep, and both of these drawers are filled along with another box, so I have quite a few of these. I've recently hit around 500 minifigures in the sets that I've collected so far, so I need a place to store them, and that's where I store them. But over here, a very messy desk. I usually wouldn't show something like this, but there is a mini display up here on the top. Some microfighters, some little stuff. I also put the box up here for the for the fairy, because I love that box. And of course I have a Funko Pop, some helmet scents, Jabba, and a duplicate sticker sheet that I just got. And of course the actual desk itself has quite a few Lego stuff on it. I have some of these Legoland exclusive sets, which I am going to do something with at some point. But yeah, that's kind of that, but we do have some other stuff to show you. I thought some of this other stuff might be interesting. Let's move down here onto the floor. I have some boxes. This is a box with a bunch of smaller instruction manuals. We have a very heavy shoe box here with a lot of other instruction manuals. And this box also has a bunch of instruction manuals in it. This is a lot of the larger ones in there. And if we'll move kind of over here, we have quite a few more boxes to take a look at. That doesn't do anything. There is my boxes for all of those are non-Star Wars minifigures, and here are the rest of the Star Wars ones here, which very similar to the other ones are just kind of displayed organized by the sets that they come in. Those aren't as organized, there aren't as many bags in there, so they go around a bit looser than the ones in the dresser do. And the last thing in here, a little hard to see admittedly, but we do have just a box just filled with disassembled Lego sets that I don't feel like displaying. And besides that, that's kind of all of it. Went through all that relatively quickly. I think I have coming on about 130 sets in my collection. I want to say around probably a bit over 100 of them are actually on display here, at least the more significant ones. A lot of these smaller ones that are especially just based on really micro scenes that don't really need to be displayed are kind of in, I disassemble. Besides that, everyone, that's kind of the look around about my reign of chaos and money wasting here. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, Discord, all that jazz, and I hope to see you in my next video. Peace.